Have you ever found yourself on a team where gossip and negativity are spreading faster than the flu? If so, this episode is for you. Welcome back to Inside the Team with Jesse Favre, the talk show for decoding human behavior at work and identifying strategies for a healthier work life. Before we get too deep into this, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Okay, so today we're getting into a topic that so many teams know on a very deep level, and maybe they don't want to. Workplace drama. It often starts small. It's a side conversation. It's a little gossip over here. It's a tiny misunderstanding that snowballs into a much bigger issue. Left unchecked, this is something that drains energy. It breaks down trust and it destroys team morale. Here's the thing though, the sooner you can address this stuff at work, the stronger your team will be. And if you're wondering how to do that, I'm bringing in a special guest, Kiera Lewis, a serial entrepreneur who has a proven track record for creating really collaborative and high-trust teams. In addition to her experience in the marketing and events industries, plus so much more, Kiera brings a passion for entrepreneurship, particularly supporting women in the space of connectivity, sisterhood, and driving entrepreneurial growth. So today we'll talk to Kiera about how to spot workplace drama before it spreads and how to intentionally create cultures where everybody's brilliance can shine. Let's dive in. Kiera, it is a pleasure to have you here on Inside the Team.
Thank you for having me, first of all.
Of course, you know, I've been a fan of your work for about the last year, and I've been able to see you do so many different types of things. One of the things that strikes me is you've got these very different businesses, different industries, but the common thread is that it's all high pressure.
Very much so.
So how does that shape your philosophy on what a healthy work culture should look like?
Always remembering the why. Why are you doing what you're doing, which is going to go back to your calling and your purpose. And so if you always remember that and hold that as the priority, then every task, every mission, every project is going to have 100% commitment to it. And you choose the team that is going to also honor that commitment. I remember telling in a meeting my KDL cast and crew, I want you to care about this more than I care about it, was the term that I gave them. And I care about it. I actually call it my baby. And I tell them all the time, you will find yourself out of here quick if you are mishandling my baby. So we have to have that mentality about why we're doing what we're doing and what it means to us. And then that can create a healthy environment. It can create a healthy team as well.
So you show what right looks like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All the time. I've seen it firsthand. Let's talk about what it looks like when it's not going right.
And I've had those experiences.
Okay, talk to me. Talk to me about this. So when you hear the term workplace drama, what comes to mind for you?
Oh, it's a lot of things that come to mind. Gossip is one of the number one things, though.
Well, I know that even from like a social contagion standpoint, it's so easy to see things like somebody's behavior, their attitude, their affect start spreading very, very quickly in a group. What do you see as the implications of that when you have an environment that has a lot of gossip going on?
What I have learned from those experiences is that a lot of people's behavior and characteristic has nothing to do with you or the person that they're gossiping about. It's their outpour of what's inside of them. I'm not going to say we all come from environments that can be unhealthy, but some people do. They come from environments that can be unhealthy, whether that be in their marriage or it's something that they grew up under, the relationships that they may have with their parents. It's just not good places. And so what they do is they take it out on others. And taking it out can come in different forms. It could come in what seems like, oh, she has a bad attitude. Or it can come in a form of, I need to protect myself from whatever it is they feel they need to protect themselves from by bullying you. Because there's a such thing as adult bullies. And I have taught my son that. I said sometimes kid bullies become adult bullies.
What I'm hearing from you is a lot of times we'll see a behavior, but there's a lot under the surface that we may not know about somebody's story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you're able to practice grace and mercy, which is so hard to do sometimes.
So, how do grace and mercy fit into your views on squashing drama? Because I know you've used that phrase before.
hmm You have to be the bigger person. You have to be the example. How else do we create a better world? It starts with you. That's what you hear. And that's true. It starts with you. So, how does it start with me? Practicing grace and mercy, being an example, showing others what you wish they would show to you. Pouring into them is what it's called. And once they see, oh, this person is not really trying to attack me, or this person is not against me, they soften. Some do, some don't, the reality, but most do. And now you have created a different environment. You have started initiating a different type of situation amongst the workplace.
So, it sounds like part of this is being the role model, showing up, showing the behaviors that you want to see spread in a team. Are there any other practices that you recommend that people lean into in moments where they're trying to disrupt some of the patterns in a workplace that don't feel healthy?
Structure.
Mm.
Whatever protocol you set, you stick to it and you have discipline to it. And some people find that to be a struggle. They'll set a standard, but then they'll let things slide. Or they'll, okay, well, I'll let you do it this time. No, the protocol is the protocol, and I need you to adhere to the protocol. I'll give an example with that with my company, KDO Productions. The rule is communicate to me. Communicate to me when you're not going to be at rehearsal. Communicate to me if you're going to be late to rehearsal. And if you don't, then there's compensation situations that can happen. Or if you have an understudy, for those that don't know what an understudy is, it's a person who is your backup person when you're acting. Then it's going to flip flop. Now they are the primary role and you're the understudy, because it's not fair if the understudy is showing up more than you. Well, I had several cast members that were either not showing up to rehearsal, or they didn't communicate they were not coming, or they were always late. I found myself texting them or calling, hey, where are you? Are you coming to rehearsal? And after a while, I had to say, oh, wait a minute, Kiera. Why are you calling them? Why are you texting them? You set a standard. They're not upholding to the standard. And what happened is that because I started going against the standard, they were expecting me, well, I'm going to be late. She's going to call or text me anyway. But then when I stopped, it's like, well, I didn't get a call or text because I should not have been calling or texting you. So when you set a protocol, when you set a standard, stick to it. And that's how people learn to adhere and respect you.
Part of what I love in how you're describing this is this feeling of fairness across the team, right? If we are consistent with something like a standard, then everybody has that sense of certainty that when I'm on the team, I know that this person's going to hold us to a particular standard, and that feels better than a one-off situation where favoritism could come up.
Absolutely. And I despise favoritism.
So you spoke earlier about workplace gossip. What do you see as the difference between gossip and healthy venting to a colleague?
When you start using phrases of did you hear? Or I heard, or let me tell you, this is gossip.
Or, you're never going to believe what I heard.
We can, the list can go on, you know, and the person who is on the receiving end, going back to being that example, well, if that person didn't tell me, then don't tell me. Or I didn't hear it from the other person, so I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. You have to be that example in all situations, because otherwise, if you're listening, you're gossiping.
I think a lot of times with gossip, people assume that, oh, if I'm just listening, if I don't say anything, then I'm not really taking part in this.
You're gossiping.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that is actually stirring the pot, right? But it's so easy. I know sometimes people are like, well, I just leaned in a little bit, right? It's not that big of a deal. What happens in a situation where somebody has leaned into this at some point in their career and they're trying to back out of this?
That is, again, maturity. Do you have that maturity to do that? Do you have the maturity, once you found that you are encamped, do you have the maturity to say, you know what? I think I'm going to back out of this. We've been talking about this a little bit too much, and I don't want to talk about this anymore. Maybe we should bring him or her in and we all talk about it together. Or
Yeah.
if we can't do that, then maybe this is considered gossiping and we need not to do this anymore. You will barely get a person to say that because that's a maturity level, or it's a fear that I'm not going to be liked anymore because I stood up for what was right. You have that situation as well.
I love that you're encouraging, let's bring them in if you want to talk about this, because
Mhm.
that is moving towards a workplace culture that has direct communication.
Mhm.
And I think when things get so indirect, that's where we start to see the culture kind of slip.
Maybe you need to go to that person directly and express to them how you're feeling. Encourage them to wait until they're at a place mentally to talk about it calmly.
Yes.
Because what you don't want to do is step to a person in a certain demeanor that is going to build a defense mechanism. So make sure that you're in a space where we can talk like this. Hey, Jess, what you said the other day, it offended me. Can I talk to you about that? Like, if you can't come in that tone, wait.
Hmm.
It's all about timing. And then also having the maturity. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's important. Having that maturity to recognize when you need a mediator.
Yes.
And don't just pick any person to be the mediator.
Your favorite person?
Right.
The one who loves
The
you?
yes man,
Yeah.
the person is gonna be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. No, I need someone that's going to say, sis, you were wrong in this situation.
Well, I think there's a real power to, or maturity to, being able to say, let's call the meeting right now. And that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing, if I could start my career over, that's a piece of advice I'd give myself. If somebody's not speaking in the tone that you described, right? Being able to be professional, stop the meeting. I'm noticing that you're raising your voice. This doesn't seem like it's a good time to talk. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and call the meeting and we can talk when we have both gotten into a professional headspace.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna add to that and say to the leaders to recognize when one-on-one is necessary.
Yeah.
Because some meetings is not meant for the whole team. And what I used to hate so much about that is that my leadership, when I was in banking specifically, we would have these meetings all the time about situations that occurred in the workplace, but it wasn't the whole team. It was just this one particular person or a few people, and it was always the same people. So, at what point do you have one to ones? Because you can have an overall team meeting and they can sit there and say, well, this isn't about me. Then this is not about me. We can easily do that. But if you call that person out by, hey, can you come in my office and I talk to you for a second? Then they know directly, you're out of order.
I've seen that play out, and I think it's so uncomfortable because often people know exactly who it's about. It's
They
not
know.
fooling anybody.
Not at
It's
all.
not a general announcement. It's like we know exactly who this is for, but the direct communication piece is hard. And I think one of the things that I have experimented with in situations like these is leaning into curiosity. Like if I need to have a one-on-one with somebody, I'm going to get curious about the
Mm,
situation, because if I'm curious, I'm way less likely to be anxious.
mm,
And
that's good.
to your point earlier, there's so much that can be under the surface. And so if we lean in and we have kind of a learner mindset, to me, that just helps calm me down so I can actually
Hmm.
take in that information of, okay, how did we get to this point?
Digging deeper is just so important. It is so important, and it's a step that many do not take. We just jump right on in without doing the research, the having the learning mindset that you just spoke of.
I think even in those moments too, just having the belief that there could be a reason for it. Just even if you don't know what it is, that there could be something. So just to give an example, I went to a grocery store the other day. I was stressed out, and I'm sure that I did not look like a friendly customer.
Hmm. Hmm.
And when I was
Not
checking out,
you, not
I
you.
have my moments. So I was checking out. I know that I looked a certain way, right?
Hmm.
And the person who was bagging the groceries, instead of getting upset or fighting with me, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna double bag your stuff because I really don't want any of these bags to break when you walk to your car.
Mm,
And I started tearing up. I was
mm,
like, he has no clue what's going on, but he picked up that something wasn't quite right. And instead of fighting with me, It was, I'm actually going to take some extra care in this situation to make sure that you're okay.
What you just spoke about, not to cut you off, was being in tune.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that is an important ingredient as a team. Because believe it or not, we probably see our coworkers more than we see our family.
Mm-hmm.
And so being in tune with one another is what's going to create a strong team. So understanding when a person comes to work out of the ordinary, well, something's wrong. So being that example, being that role model that we talked about earlier, take the initiative to say, hey, is everything okay? Do you want to talk? Offer them that space. That's what keeps workplace drama to a cease. And that's what creates high morale and relationship as well. I'm not saying that you have to be friends when you go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, but you got to be something in order for you to band together. That puts me in the mind with my band. So I set my band down, okay? Because I got tired of them not coming to rehearsal or coming to rehearsal late or unprepared. So that's also developing great teams when you have to make those hard decisions. Get some musicians that feel like I don't need rehearsal. I've been a musician for 40 years, or this is an easy song. I don't need that many rehearsals. It's not about your skill. It's about the chemistry that we're trying to build. It's about us becoming a band, making sure that we can come together. Me as a lead singer, I need to be able to communicate to you in my way when I'm ready to take it to the vamp, or when I'm ready to come out to the chorus or break the song down. Like, I need you to feel what I'm about to do. And the only way you can do that is by us rehearsing together, coming together to build that chemistry. That's the same thing with the workplace. We come together and we make intentional chemistry, and that causes you to be in tune with that person. So picking up on the behavior that you had at the grocery store, that bagger is like, something's not right with her. This lady seems like she's having a bad moment. Let me do something courteous to just bring a smile or something to her face. And we have to learn how to do that at work as well.
And I just want to call out, because I've seen your work firsthand. I've seen your productions. This is what shines through. You pull together people that have such raw talent, but there is no way that talented people could pull off what you all pull off without your leadership and saying, like, we're going to make this tight as a group.
Thank you.
That's why I wanted to bring you on,
Thank
too.
you. And by the way, I'm a fan of yours. I wanted to say that earlier when you said it, but it's vice versa. So I love what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, in thinking about what you've shared from a leadership perspective, I'm hearing two pieces that I think are both true. And one is the consistency, the structure. We need to hold people accountable. And also, we need to be understanding. How do we make these both true at the same time?
Holding people accountable while learning to understand is very important, because when you hold them accountable, you're providing them a coaching opportunity.
Yeah.
A coaching opportunity allows them to grow as a person. So all of it just becomes a domino effect. If you're not holding them accountable, you're enabling them at this point. And so now what kind of atmosphere are you creating in that person?
I love this, because I think so often people feel like, oh, if I give feedback, if I coach, they did something wrong. And this is really about...
Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's not what I'm hearing. It's like, I'm doing this out of respect for you. This is actually part of my understanding and my caring, is I want to help you figure out how to be successful here.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point in the workplace, right? We don't ever want to stay complacent. If you are a bagger, okay, how do we get you from being bagger to cashier? And then how do we get you from being cashier to sales lead, and from sales lead to management? Like, we want you to keep climbing the ladder. So sometimes accountability comes into that. Sometimes coaching, and not sometimes, all the time. Coaching is a part of that, but just know that it's coming from a place. And so that goes back to what we said earlier, your tone, your approach, because otherwise now a wall is coming up and I don't hear anything that you're saying.
Yeah, and that tone is so critical. I had somebody who was in a session of mine about a year ago. She's from Romania, and she translated this phrase for me that she said she used all the time, and it is, The tone creates the music. As a musician, you might like that.
Yes, it did something to my feels.
I thought it might. The tone creates the music. And so now when I listen to people talk, I'm not thinking just about the lyrics. I'm like, what's the melody of what they're saying? And also, how do we have awareness of what we're putting out in terms of the melody of what we're sharing?
You can only have awareness when you're in tune. Oh, we are making so much music tonight, girl.
All the goosebumps.
All of it. I think I might put that on my arm as a tattoo. But yes, you have to be in tune in order to receive and feel and accept any of that you just said. Being in tune.
I'm feeling like a huge part of squashing drama isn't so much about something that is like an aggressive squash. It's actually mindfulness, presence with someone else.
Absolutely.
This is a more delicate approach.
Absolutely. 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 And if we have that type of approach, there will be some amazing citizens in our communities, because you can then take that from work and pour that into your personal as well. And just imagine how many great relationships we would have in our families and amongst our friends and things like that.
So, Kiera, we are going to play a game called Squash It.
Let's squash it.
Okay, so I'm going to read some scenarios to you, and I want to hear how you would squash this drama in the moment.
I get to do a little acting?
You get to do a little acting.
Okay.
So do I.
That's in my realm.
You overhear your coworker say, "I can't believe what she wore today." How are you going to squash it?
I'm going to say, well, I actually think that it looks really good. The way that she coordinated the necklace with the pants actually shows a little bit of style.
Okay, so you're flipping it into a compliment. Okay, sneaky, sneaky. Next one. You see two teammates whispering and glancing toward your desk during a meeting, and that's all you got. How are you going to squash it?
I'm going to say, so what y'all talking about? I want to have a good time too. You got to make them uncomfortable at this point. I want to laugh too. What are you guys talking about?
So you're making an observation about the behavior, and then you're getting curious. Okay.
And you're making it known to them that I see you being gossipy.
Yes.
Don't do it. It's not nice.
Yes. And to your point on this, there have been times I have been in a meeting will be crickets, right? And I get these looks. And so I have a thought in my head, oh my gosh, they hate me. They hate this initiative. They hate the project, right? There have been times I've done that. Wow, it's really quiet in here today. I feel like I can hear crickets. What's going on? Sometimes they just got horrible news, right? I have had times where I'm like, I had no clue. Do we need to take 5? Do we need to reschedule the meeting? And so sometimes I think it can be a real surprise what gets unearthed from doing that. So,
absolutely. We talked about that. You don't know what they're carrying inside. You don't know what they brought in. I get that sometimes when I'm facilitating my workshops with SCORE.
Yeah.
It's quiet. And I'll stop in between. Do we have any questions? And there's no questions. And so I'll just say, well, I guess I'm doing a great job with explaining this stuff to you. And I would see in the chat, yes, this is great information. So they're just captivated. So just, make a joke out of the moments and see where it goes, or bring it on yourself where, like I said, I'm just doing such a good job then, and then see what the reactions are.
And I've been one of those captivated people in the SCORE workshop. I probably wasn't asking questions either, but I was taking all the notes. So you never know what's going on the other end.
Right.
Okay, a coworker tells you, everybody's saying that management doesn't know what they're doing.
I would say, well, what are your thoughts? What do you feel the management isn't doing? Maybe we should come together and go to the management with this list of things.
Encouraging direct communication.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. 2 people on your team are openly frustrated with each other in front of clients. I feel like this would not go in your companies. What are you going to do?
I'm going to take over. What I mean by that is, if they're getting into it, there is still a client in front of us that needs to be serviced. So I'm going to step in front of them. I'm literally going to step in front of them, because I'm using my body to block what is inappropriate in front of the client, and ask the client, how may I help you? And make sure that we're taking care of the priority. The priority is the client. Once I am done taking care of that client, then I'm going to turn to my coworkers, holding them accountable. We talked about accountability earlier, and expressing to them, first of all, this was not professional. You have to, that was the coaching moment. This is unprofessional that we did this in front of the client, you guys. And then let's step away and what's going on. And now you get into the situation to be that mediator.
Mm. There's something that's coming up from my theater past. Everything that the audience can see is a part of the act.
Mm-hmm.
So you are putting them backstage, effective immediately.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then
Absolutely.
talking about next time, this is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not, absolutely not. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to miss that coaching opportunity, but then also become concerned
Mm-hmm.
to be that mediator so that you can squash it.
Yes. And also, I love that you're pulling this offline because, as you said earlier, it's not always a team conversation. This is not necessarily for the customer to see.
Right.
Right? So you're thinking about the impact on them, and then how do I have this direct conversation at a time that it's appropriate?
Absolutely. We live in a world now where you can easily get blasted on social media.
Mm.
And so what you do in front of your clients can easily find itself viral. And so you want to try to clean those things up ASAP.
Yeah. Let's say that you are in a brainstorming session and somebody just suddenly cuts you off and then they keep cutting you off.
So some may call me really sarcastic. And so I'm just that type of person sometimes where if it keeps happening, baby, listen, you have just cut me off like 5 times now. Just, is everything okay? Are we good? Okay. Well, as I was saying, so I'm the type of person where I will call something out like that in that manner. It's joking, but I'm serious. Stop cutting me off. But at the same time, I want to give a tone to where I'm not seeming confrontational, but yet enough to say, I don't appreciate this.
There's some authority in this moment, and there's also warmth. And I feel like that's one thing you just do so well. So I would receive that well. I'd be like, okay.
Thank you. Good.
Noted. I'm done.
So if you get me in the falsetto, for those that sing, if I start getting into what are you doing? That means I need you to pipe it down just a little bit. And some people say I speak with my eyes. So
I used to be in meetings and my boss would text me. She'd be like, Jesse, watch your face. I'm like,
I get that every day. Yeah. I get it every day. You will never see me at a poker table.
Me neither. Okay, last one. A coworker gives you feedback that is feeling more like a personal attack. And this is what it is. Kiera, you're just too sensitive. I was scared.
It wasn't the eyes. Did I give you eyes just now? So I'm laughing because I've actually had something similar like that. But it was more baffling than the statement you just gave me. I came to work one morning and these are the exact words that were spoken to me. Kiera, some of the ladies have complained that your confidence intimidates them. That was my look as well. Because who says that? I thought I was being punked. I thought Ashton was about to pop out of the break room somewhere because what? My confidence intimidates them. So my answer was, well, I'm sorry that they're not confident in themselves and they don't understand what their worth and value is, that they find mine to be intimidating. And then I put my stuff in my locker and went to my station because what more do you need to say at that? Wow. So yeah, that actually happened. I had to say, God, how can you use me for these women? Because there's something deeper here that anyone would say that another person's confidence would intimidate them. They're lacking something inside of them. So how can you use me to pour into them to find themselves, to find what they need to feel confident? And that's the prayer that I had to immediately go into. I couldn't take it personal because at that time, I was definitely experiencing growth. And so my growth that I experienced at that time allowed me to understand, Kiera, this is bigger than you. and it has nothing to do with you. So how do you stand in the gap for those women?
I think with feedback, when it is when there's no business impact, we really have to ask, why are we giving that to each other, right?
Hmm.
Is there really a business impact that you have confidence? I don't, it sounds like it would be a positive one, right?
I when I tell you I was shooketh, I was like, "What is this a serious? Like, are you really telling me this?" And this goes back to leadership and picking and choosing what's considered coaching. I would never bring that to a team member. At that point, I'm talking to the people that came to me and
Mm-hmm.
brought that to me. Like, what's really going on here? Being in tune with your team. I would have never brought that to a team member. That is a crazy statement.
It's crazy. And even in a situation where, let's just say, you have to give constructive feedback, there are still some ways that that can happen that are also not okay. I remember at the start of my healthcare management career, I had a very mysterious one-on-one on my calendar, which is
Hmm.
never good. At least it wasn't to me.
Right.
And so the feedback was, you're just too intense. You're too intense for this career. This was the start of my healthcare career. And so I
Wow.
was thinking, well, I guess I probably shouldn't do this job. And so I went to the bathroom stall and I cried.
Mm.
The room was spinning. I was like, I have no clue what to do. When I think about now what happened then and what I would do if this happened present day, to me, this is where I have to get really curious, right? I want to understand this better. Can you share some recent examples? Because I do suspect that there were things that I needed help with.
Hmm.
Maybe I got so excited I talked over somebody. Maybe I got excited and my voice got really loud in a meeting room,
And it
right?
was just passion.
It was passion. That's what I suspect,
Hmm.
but I don't know for sure. And I think when we're thinking about how to challenge a workplace culture, sometimes it is leaning with that curiosity and asking for specifics, so that you can do your best to try to understand. Because this person may have been trying to help me, but for me, it was just kind of feeding into this feeling of I don't belong here and I should get out.
But I'm going to say, I'll play devil's advocate with that. In your defense, as a leader, why would you utilize the word intense?
Hmm.
Because I'm sure there's other ways that they could have broken that down to you. What if you hadn't the sense to say, well, now that I think about it, maybe they were saying this, this, and that. What if you would not have thought of it that way?
Hmm.
Because going back to maturity, what if you were not mature enough to think of that way? And we have people who will take a person's word and that's it. They just run with what that word
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I would have lost that whole career at that
Yeah.
point.
So so think about all of the hopes and dreams that they could have tarnished for you just from that one statement.
Hmm.
So we have to be careful of how we bring things to the table, what we say, how we say it. We've already talked about that. And word usage. Like, what exactly does intense mean?
Hmm. And are there some ways to look at this as a strength? Because, fast forward 10 years, I have a coach who's helping me with speaking, and they're like, one of your biggest strengths is your intensity. And what I mean by that is blah, blah, blah. How can we make it
Look
bigger?
at
How
that.
can we make it more playful? And I was like, what?
And you should
What?
have said, well, back
I
then.
know. I was like, maybe I was in the wrong job. I don't know. But even being able to see the good in other people and call that out, I think just changes the culture completely. Totally
Hmm.
different work experience for me.
Yeah. And kudos to you for not giving up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And nice job on Squash It.
Thank you. Did we squash it?
We squashed
All
it.
right.
Okay. So before we leave, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see other wonderful episodes. And just remember, you've got to know what's important to you at work. You have to be intentional about your culture, keep it human, and we will catch you next time inside the team.